WTVW Local 7, this is Eyewitness News at 9.
After a quiet spring, our luck runs out tonight. Severe weather rolls through the tri-state, leaving widespread damage and tens of thousands of people without power. Hello, everyone. I'm Brad Bird. We're starting from the Weather Center tonight. Shala is live in the field. I'm joined here now in the Weather Center with Chief Meteorologist Wayne Hart. Wayne, you've been tracking this storm system that just rolled through, and it was relentless once it hit basically Evansville and Ward County.
And it was one severe thunderstorm, a long-track severe storm that we believe produced mainly damaging straight-line winds. No confirmation of a tornado, but the Weather Service will come take a look at the damage over the weekend and let us know. But bottom line right now, the severe weather threat has ended, so that's good news. You can see on live first warning Doppler radar, still some scattered showers and weaker thunderstorms along and south of the Ohio River, and these are all pushing away to the east-northeast. Now, these will continue through the overnight, but we're not expecting any severe weather now that the watch has expired. But let me take you back into 1:30 this afternoon and take a look on the left-hand side of your screen. That's a severe thunderstorm in southeastern Missouri. That was the storm that would eventually do all the damage in Vanderburgh, Warwick counties, and points east. Now, as it tracked across southern Illinois, we had warnings on it. I should say the Weather Service had severe thunderstorm warnings on it until it got into White County. At that point, it was weakening, and as it crossed over into Posey County, no warning issued. It looks like that weakening trend would continue. But as it hit the west side of Evansville, it re-intensified, and the warning was issued at 4:33. But by that point, the damaging winds were crossing over Highway 41 into the east side of Evansville, and the storm got much stronger across Warwick County, finally exiting Perry County at around 6 o'clock this evening. Here's a closer look at the storm as it hit western Vanderburgh County at around 4:30 this afternoon. Watch the purple core here get larger as it crosses over into Stevenson Station there in western Warwick County, and even stronger yet on the north side of Boonville, kind of traveled right up State Route 62 as it pushed to the east-northeast at about 45 miles per hour. We can actually show you the damaging wind in color here, where you see these shades of purple. You can clearly see the north side of Evansville saw the most damage here in the city, and then the wind got even stronger as that storm tracked along Route 62 from Stevenson Station to Chandler and through the Boonville area. Now, we're still going to see some scattered storms over the weekend, but all in all, it is looking like better weather for the rest of the barbecue festival and Mother's Day. And we'll talk more about what has left to come for the weekend in my full forecast in about 10 minutes.
All right, we will talk to you then, Wayne. Now, we have our crews live on the scene tonight where the most significant damage occurred, and it is widespread. Let's first go to Eyewitness News' Shala Sass. She joins us live now from Oak Hill Road and Capitol Boulevard. Shala, what do you see now?
Section of because you just seen the rain completely vertical. It was horrible. It was scary.
It was no tornado. Parts of the tri-state get hit hard by a severe thunderstorm. This storm carried heavy rains, damaging wind, leaving behind its destruction.
I was scared to death.
Bobby Burns is a clerk at the Circle K gas station on Highway 41 in Evansville, an area where the storm decided to strike.
I look up, and it was just complete vertical rain.
Burns says the storm blew by fast, and tonight many across the tri-state are left with the damages.
The trees down, the power lines were down, there was some sparks.
Those sparks, a power line dangling at 41 and Petersburg Road, just feet away from the Circle K gas station. Sheriffs attempt to direct traffic while semi-trucks attempt to drive under the dangerously low line.
Still missing a trash can. Our canopy didn't survive too well.
The storm didn't spare the gas station or other parts of Evansville. For miles, the stoplights along 41 were out, and traffic started to pile up. Homes along Oak Hill Road are left with trees split in their yards, limbs and debris stuck in power lines. At Flare Molded Plastics off Lynch Road, a giant piece of roof is ripped off and stuck on a power line. And at TJ Maxx Distribution Center, utility poles fall in a row.
When everything kind of started going all crazy and came outside and a bunch of trees and brush all over the road, people kind of at a loss.
The calm before the storm leaves mess and destruction after it. Casey Mason, Eyewitness News.
Well, damage was very widespread north of the Ohio River. You're looking at a silo that's toppled on its side near Epworth. and Telephone Road at Miller Farms. Now, this is in Newburgh. High winds also caused major damage to several buildings on the property. Roofs were ripped off and entire walls of buildings ripped down. Firefighters were on the scene dealing with downed tree limbs. Police blocked traffic to Telephone Road because of fallen power lines that were still live. Taking a look now at some of the damage on Boonville Highway, a tree was uprooted and fell on top of the garage. You can also see a red pickup truck was pinned underneath that tree. There was also a car in the garage that was damaged. Neighbors tell us the house was actually undergoing renovations and the family who owns the house was not home at the time. We're told nobody was hurt. One Evansville business also had heavy damage tonight. Let's now go to the 2200 block of Fairs Avenue where Tina Stein is standing by. Tina, there is a lot of damage over there, too.
Brad, contractors are out here checking out the extent of the damage, and Vectren just showed up trying to get the power restored. Since the lights are out, it is hard to see just how bad it really is. Now, to give you an idea, I am right across the street from P&I Supply, where high winds ripped off the roof, and you can see all of the mangled debris flew all the way across the street. Ironically, this here is a girder, which acts as a support beam to keep a roof intact to prevent something like this from happening. Obviously, that didn't work so well, but the roof may be P&I's one of its few troubles. The whole backside of the building ripped off, where you can see it appears to be a storage area. And getting the power back on may be extra problematic. Parts of the roof blew into the power line, completely ripping it down. Now, there are no official reports of tornado sightings, but Marcel Whiteside is confident he knows what he saw.
I saw a funnel cloud, but I wasn't really sure because it was all that white. It was just white. I couldn't see nothing in front of me. And I saw something forming, but I didn't know what it was. I jumped in there just in the nick of time, I guess.
And this is the dumpster where Marcel Whiteside rode out those high winds. He said it shook from side to side. Luckily, he wasn't hurt. And when he opened up that lid, he walked out and he saw all of this damage. A lot of cleanup to do because pieces of debris like this here are scattered everywhere in the area. Vectren, as I mentioned, just arrived, so no word when power will be restored. Reporting live in the 2200 block of Fairs Avenue, Tina Stein, Eyewitness News.
All right, Tina, we will be in touch. Our Eyewitness News team saw several people out trying to clean up the damage from the storms. One home on the near north side of Evansville had part of its roof torn off. Video journalist Ryan McCurdy was there as neighbors tried to clean up the mess.
My husband and I live next door, and we were standing at the front door. You couldn't hardly see across the street. Then all of a sudden, so you know, here comes the roof laying in the street. Anything happens, everybody will pitch together. We always have. And we've lived here 46 years. So it's been a good neighborhood.
Where are we putting it? Just pull it up that way.
The boys down the street. Girls, his granddaughters.
Yeah, go higher with it because Mary Kay's doesn't want to get in her driveway this week.
It was her car that was smashed.
What was your first reaction when you saw your car?
Yes, I have full coverage. Yeah, you see like the tornado damage and stuff done, and then it's like, oh, it's right in my front yard. Interesting. Crazy that something like this happens so close to home, because you see it across the country, you know, all these bad storms, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's right here. And, you know, we weren't supposed to get tornadoes, but I don't think we were supposed to get this strong of winds either, so. But I get a new car.
That's it. That's it. We're good. We're out of the street.
Well, plenty of damage reported in Warwick County from these storms as well. Now, this is video from Boonville. Several trees went down, in many cases covering streets and roads. Crews are trying to get them cleared. Power lines are down throughout the Boonville area, and officials are working to get power restored as quickly as possible. There are no reports of injuries in Boonville, but people say the storms brought plenty of fear with the wind and rain.
He called and warned me that his daughter, who works over at the pizza place, called and said, there's a tree on your house. This is nothing compared to the tornado that my parents went through. And I just got to get a hold of my husband now because he doesn't know.
Veteran officials say they are working to restore power. Originally, there were 4,600 customers. They hope to have all power restored by the weekend in that area. And that takes us to our Facebook pages. We want to hear from you. You can head to my Facebook page and also to the Eyewitness News Facebook page. If you have any images to share or any eyewitness accounts that you can share with us, please do so. Just head to our pages and let us hear from you. Thanks for your feedback and keeping in touch. Almost 27,000 veteran customers are with power, at least at the latest check. That was close to about 50,000 earlier tonight. Utility crews could be working throughout the weekend. I'm joined now by phone by veterans Chase Kelly. Chase, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, we are in touch. Okay, Chase, right now, last report, I saw about 27,000 customers on the veteran website. Can you update that for us?
That is correct. The outages have dropped significantly. We were at over 50,000 when the storm first hit. We've had a lot of progress on our transmission line systems, and so we've put a good 20,000 plus back in power over the past hour and a half.
And you are, as you have told us before, you're obviously trying to get those big pockets restored, and this is when substations are involved and major transmission lines are down. It's those smaller areas that is causing the biggest concern right now to you.
Definitely. I think we've seen, and you've seen with photos, you've seen with video footage, we have a lot of system damage. When you talk about trees down in backyards, wires down, poles down, and those are outages that usually when you restore them, they impact 3 or 5 customers, yet they take 5, 6, 7 hours to repair. And so we ask that customers just be patient with us. We are going to continue to work throughout the night. We're bringing in extra crews to help us. We have calls out for even more crew members, but certainly people are going to go through the weekend without power, and there's a good chance we go into Monday and Tuesday as well. So again, we ask that people just be patient. We will work 24/7, but as you can see, there's just a lot of system damage because of these straight line winds.
And Chase, we asked you earlier at 6 o'clock, you indicated that a veteran might consider calling contractors in from outside of the veteran coverage area. When you were speaking about those extra contractors coming in, is that from neighboring areas or is that from internal?
We already have our existing contract crews. We have veteran crews, contract crews that are on site often with us doing multiple jobs, and we have since called neighboring utility crews. So again, it's kind of all hands on deck because we know customers are going to become impatient, and we need to really get out and hit this hard over the weekend, and so we need more resources to help us with that.
And if you have a smartphone or if you can get to a phone, you can dial into the automated system at Veteran to report an outage. You can also check on the progress being made.
That's correct. Please use your smartphone. You can go to veteran.com via a mobile browser, and you can see updates. And please follow us on Twitter. That's where we do probably the most updates in real time. But again, I know customers are going to be frustrated. They want to know when they're going to be back on. And we are still at the point of really just assessing damage. Yes, we've made progress. But when you talk about these smaller pockets, we have multiple people out in the field just determining, okay, what sort of infrastructure replacement do we need to undertake here over the next 48 hours plus?
And a lot of these power lines, obviously, Veteran works to get a lot of the tree coverage near those lines trimmed back. But some of these utility poles literally snapped in half tonight from the pictures that I've seen.
That's correct, and we aren't seeing tree trimming issues. We have a pretty aggressive tree trimming program. What we're seeing is trees completely fallen over, and so these aren't branches that have dropped off. We're seeing trees overturned, have taken down wires, and then multiple poles with it.
All right, Chase Kelly from Veteran. We know your crews are out there tonight, and we wish them to stay safe tonight, and hopefully this will pass for these people without power. And as soon as possible. Chase Kelly from Vectra. In other news we are watching now, a Vanderbilt County man is sentenced for his role in a high-profile 2012 incident involving the death of a man who robbed him. Hiram Beamer was sentenced to 2 years for criminal recklessness. The judge gave him credit for time served. That means after being in jail and later house arrest for 2 years, Beamer is now free. He originally faced murder and attempted murder charges, but pleaded guilty to the lesser charge of criminal recklessness. Antoine Jenkins died after Beamer's car crashed into a vehicle Jenkins was in. Jenkins' uncle told the judge he didn't think Beamer was remorseful when the crash happened and still isn't today.
They let him go.
Are you surprised?
No, it's white people.
He had an absolute right, being an uncle of a man who's deceased, to address the court, and I think that Judge Kiley took his words, took his statements into consideration.
Prosecutors say they respected the judge's decision, even though no additional time was added. Investigators are trying to figure out what caused a barn fire in Lexington, Kentucky. 8 horses were killed in that fire. Whitney Wetzman has details.
And I could hear everybody kicking and screaming, but it was too hot. I couldn't get in. I tried to go in, but I couldn't.
A scene that lit up the night sky. Around 1 o'clock this morning, a worker at a nearby barn on Rice Road saw the flames and immediately called for help.
I just see this big wall of fire, and I mean sparks flying really high and smoke billowing, and it's just very tragic, and I would never wish that upon anyone.
A total of 10 horses were inside of this barn. 8 of them died. Their trainer was able to rush into a building next to the barn and save 2, but it was too late for the others.
The outside barn was on fire, and I managed to get them 2 horses out. I pulled one out of the barn that was on fire, and I brought him around to the other horse. I opened up his stall. He ran out behind him.
Investigators are going through the debris, trying to figure out what caused that fire. Safety improvements are made to a deadly railroad crossing in Gibson County. Flashing lights, gates, and a bell have been installed at a crossing at County Road 550 South. That crossing, which originally had just a stop sign, has claimed 3 lives, including 4-year-old Andrea Bullock last year. Margaret Dickman is Bullock's cousin. She says the child's parents are still dealing with the death. And Dickman is glad improvements have been made, but wishes they had been made sooner.
I mean, it'll stop it from ever happening again, so there's that relief. But there's always going to be the what if it had it been this way or that way. So, I mean, that's always going to be in people's minds.
CSX says the crossing should be fully functioning next week, but it appeared to be working today. The improvements were funded by grant money from the Indiana Department of Transportation. Weather delays, planned construction, and lane closures in Henderson. Crews plan to do contract work on a part of Kentucky 351, which is at 2nd Street and Zion Road near the Highway 41 interchange. Because of the work, the southbound lane of the Kentucky 2084 connector will be closed near Palmer's Market. Crews hope to start the construction next Friday. The more than $6 million project is expected to be finished in August. Still ahead, 2 automakers announce major recalls. Find out if your vehicle may be affected. Plus, love treating your date to a special evening, how you can have a good time, save some money at the same time later at 9. And Chief Meteorologist Wayne Hart tracking our forecast. Hopefully things are going to calm down, Wayne.
Yes, a better weekend on the way. Severe weather threat has ended, and other than a few thunderstorms over the weekend, our next really good chance of rain and thunder is going to arrive early next week. But before the storms hit today, 78 was the high after a warm low of 68 degrees. And in the rain gauge at the airport, only 6/100ths of an inch, but other areas got much more than that. Your forecast is next when Eyewitness News at 9 continues.
You're watching Local 7 WTVW with Brad Bird, Shala Sass, Chief Meteorologist Wayne Hart, and Sports with Drew Ammon. This is Eyewitness News at 9. Now, from your weather authority, Chief Meteorologist Wayne Hart.
Severe weather threat has ended for tonight, and though I can't rule out an isolated severe storm over the weekend, the next big event probably won't be until Tuesday of next week, but still some lingering scattered showers and weaker thunder showers across the area, especially south of I-64. Live first warning Doppler radar showing that activity. Now, I've turned up the sensitivity around the NextRad site up here in Gibson County, so these are false returns up there, but you can see this activity pushing off to the east and northeast. We basically have a front that kind of fell apart over top of us, some energy riding along it, and that's going to keep some scattered thunder showers going through the night and even the first half of tomorrow before this system begins to pull away. But a little more rain moving back into Evansville right now, just some light to moderate rain, maybe a rumble of thunder here and there, same for Boonville. And then as you head south, the rain's a little more widespread. Owensboro, you just had a shower push on through. Folks may be trying to get back out to the downtown area, but looks like the heavier rain is now pushing off to the east. Here's a live view from our HD Skycam in Henderson. I'm going to play back the last 12 hours. Now, keep in mind, we were moving the camera around quite a bit, but we can kind of take a look at how things played out today. We had some sunshine through the filtered clouds, and then the storms rolled on through the area. We kind of turned the camera as that storm rolled through the east side of Evansville and through the Newburgh area. And then we actually had a double rainbow there towards the end of the day. So a very eventful late afternoon out there, but things are quieter. We're at 65 right now. The dew point's at 60. A lot of rain-cooled air with a south wind coming in at around 11 miles per hour. And the temperatures throughout the tri-state have been cooled down area-wide, low to mid-60s, and we're just going to drop a few more degrees overnight. So not much different than what it feels like outside right now. But Storm Tracker showing really not a powerful system. It was one very small but very strong severe storm that caused all the issues for us. We got scattered showers and thunder showers from New England all the way back to the Gulf Coast. But again, no big weather system, and we're going to kind of see this system drift back to the north as this rather weak front, which is stalling out over top of us, lifts to the north later tomorrow. But since it will be in the area, we'll keep the chances of rain going. Now, Future Tracker starting at 10 p.m. shows the scattered showers and thunder showers, and actually more moving in overnight. This is 2 a.m. with still a healthy scattering here in western Kentucky, but nothing severe. And then by daybreak tomorrow morning, still some action in the area, especially southeast of Evansville. A little upper level energy is going to be riding on through. So I think the better chances tomorrow may actually be in the morning, gradually pulling away as we head into the afternoon. But here we are at noon, still some scattered showers and thunder showers right along the Ohio River, but then we break out into some more sun, more stable air, and it looks like improving weather with highs between 75 and 80. Cluster of strong storms near St. Louis tomorrow evening. We'll keep an eye on that, but the models say it will die before it gets up into our area. But by midnight, we pick up maybe a few spotty showers tomorrow night. Those fade away. And here we go with Mother's Day. It doesn't look too bad. Mix of sun and clouds, and Future Tracker keeps us pretty dry. I'm going to keep the rain chances at about 25%. And the same for Monday. Maybe a few spotty showers and thunder showers. But here comes the next cold front, which will be over Missouri Monday afternoon. We'll deal with that on Tuesday. So scattered showers and thunder showers overnight through tomorrow morning, diminishing tomorrow afternoon. 79 for the high, a mix of sun and clouds for Mother's Day. Windy, warmer, 83. Just a few scattered showers and thunderstorms out there. Our first muggy day of the year setting up for Monday with 84 degrees. Nothing more than a pop-up shower or thunderstorm, but a cold front comes through Tuesday. Showers, thunderstorms, maybe a severe threat. Doesn't look too bad at this point. 71, and then we're going to gradually watch these temperatures fall as rain chances fade away, and high temperatures the latter half of next week in the upper 60s. But this was an event today, you know, I wish I had been on the air continuously for, but this storm literally got severe right over top of us. By the time we realized how bad it was east of Boonville. So pretty interesting event for our area this afternoon.
Remember the fact that, you know, we were getting the word out at a time when people just, the awareness can make a difference sometimes. The big plus, no reports of injuries.
Yeah, that's the important thing.
That's the good news on this. All right, thanks a lot, Wayne. We'll be right back after the break.
Eyewitness News at 9 continues.
And welcome back. We're joined now by phone by Laura Limp with the American Red Cross. And Laura, thanks for joining us. After this severe weather passed through the tri-state, the latest count I have from Vectren, 28,000 customers without power. I understand that the Red Cross is setting up a shelter.
Yes, we are, in fact. We are opening a shelter at our 29 South Stockwell Road headquarters. And this particular shelter, we are working with clients who have medical needs that require machines to be plugged in for them to get their breathing machines, or they're on dialysis, critical medical needs. If their electricity has went out, we encourage them, that's a place that they can go. I've also just received word that we're opening a shelter in Boonville, and that is going to be at the Boonville Middle School on Yankeetown Road. And, of course, that's going to be open to those folks who, they need us. They need our help. I know that Boonville is pretty hard hit. We've had disaster assessment crews out there for hours, and we've made the determination after being in that area that this is something that needs to happen.
And Laura, it's the fact that you mentioned that this shelter, particularly on Stockwell Road there at the American Red Cross headquarters, is being opened up for people with medical needs. Often when we think about power being lost, we're concerned about the air conditioner not coming on, or in the winter the heat not working. But for a lot of individuals out there, these medical issues literally require that you have to have power.
Yes. And we've recognized several families who have that criteria. And I want to provide a phone number, if I can, Brad,
go
for
ahead.
people who have questions. And it's 812-774-2722. And if there's folks that have questions about sheltering and requirements and that sort of thing, I encourage them to use that phone number. We have folks on standby. We expect to have the Stockwell location open by 10 o'clock. I don't have a time right now for the Boonville shelter. I literally received the information about 45 seconds before speaking with you. So I'll be sure to send that over to the station as soon as we have it.
And Laura, we certainly want to emphasize one thing that we've got to realize is that a lot of people cannot watch this broadcast right now because they don't have power, possibly. So we obviously are urging anyone, if you know of someone who might have a medical issue, a loved one, a friend, maybe a neighbor down the street, maybe you still have power, you're watching this broadcast, to let them know. And the number, again, we'll try to get a title on that up on the screen here in a little bit, but the number at the Red Cross they should call again is 812-774-2722. How many people can you accommodate there at the Stockwell headquarters, Laura?
Brad, I'm not sure. I don't have those numbers. I'm happy to provide them for you. Like I said, right now we have several families that we're going to be accommodating, and again, with those critical medical needs requiring electricity. The Boonville Middle School, however, we are opening to general public, if you will, for folks that need our assistance.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to send those details, and you guys can throw them up on your webpage if you'd like.
We were talking to Amy Canterbury with the Red Cross this week with that media-thon on the Tri-State Gives Back for storm victims down south. And what do you know, here we are tonight, right here in the Tri-State. We had gotten through this spring so far, but tonight just wasn't the case. But Laura Limp with the American Red Cross, thank you for what the Red Cross does to help people right here in the Tri-State and outside of our region. And we'll continue to broadcast that number for folks who can get in touch with the Red Cross. Laura Limp with the...
thank you, guys.
All right, thank you. You're watching Eyewitness News at 9.